And welcome back. Home prices in the US increased for the first time in 7 months. This is based on a brand new report from data analytics firm Black Knight, which was just posted yesterday at the time of this video. So in today's video, I'm going to share all the details with you guys. And with that said, I have a lot to share in today's video, so let's go ahead and dive right in. This report, again, was posted on April 3rd. Today is April 4th. It says here February's home prices saw their first monthly rise after 7 consecutive months of decreases, as home sales picked up on lower rates while inventory levels shrunk. And here's what Black Knight had to say here. It says, after seeing home prices pull back for 7 consecutive months at a national level, prices declining over the past 7 months, and likely spurred by home buyers reacting to a dip in mortgage rates, the Black Knight Home Price Index, which is an index which measures home prices in the US, showed something of a rebound occurring this February. And Black Knight Vice President of Enterprise Research, Andy Walden, explained that home prices increased in February compared to January in 78% of the 50 largest US metros. He says February's national increase in home prices, up by 0.16%, adjusted for seasonality, marked the first positive monthly growth we've seen in 8 months. So in other words, a small increase compared to January, but definitely noteworthy given the fact that prices were declining for 7 consecutive months. He also goes on to say the following: the purchase market increased when rates decreased in the early part of the month. So rates decreased to 5.99% on February 2nd this year. And some buyers were able to take advantage of that, given the fact that rates went from 7.4% in late October last year and decreased to about 6% in the early parts of February. He says in many areas of the country, that dynamic, low inventory levels, and a modest rise in demand led to an uptick in home prices this February. All in, 39 of the 50 largest US metros experienced an increase in home prices in February compared to January. This means approximately 78% of the 50 largest US markets recorded increases on a month-to-month basis. In sharp contrast, just 3 months ago, 48 of those 50 largest metros experienced price decreases. Andy Walden also says we're seeing stronger price gains more generally in those areas that are more affordable, in which they also have larger inventory deficits or large decreases in inventory compared to years past. Let me give you guys an example. So for example, in areas that were really impacted by the onset of COVID, in which we saw a strong demand in home buyers and a lot of people moving there, is of course Sacramento, Phoenix, Utah, Austin, Texas, for example. And that was when prices were much lower then than they are right now. So prices increased by well into the double digits over the past several years. And because of these price gains we've been seeing over the past few years, housing affordability is a big issue. Therefore, because of this, more people are moving to more affordable areas right now. Also, speaking of historically low inventory levels, have a look at this, because Black Knight is reporting that inventory levels this February is now down to 47% below pre-COVID levels. So the number of houses for sale this February nationwide is now 47% below pre-pandemic levels. And here's a look at Black Knight's report here regarding inventory levels and how that compares to home sale levels as well. It says the number of houses for sale decreased for the 5th consecutive month on a seasonally adjusted basis, hitting its lowest levels since May of last year. So the number of houses for sale in the US falling to the lowest level since May of last year. It says home sale activity increased in February, though, on a seasonally adjusted basis, suggesting that transaction volumes may have reached a floor. So home sales increased slightly in February compared to January, which may suggest that we have reached a floor regarding home sale activity. It says, though, despite this improvement, sales remained 18% below their 2019 pre-pandemic average, as housing affordability pressures continue to weigh on housing demand. And here's a really good chart showing home sale activity versus inventory going back to February of 2005. Obviously, this is 2023 over here. Duh. Active listing count. Look at this. So back in 2007, approximately, there was nearly 2.5 million houses for sale. This is, by the way, only for single family and condos. But for this February, there's only around 750,000 houses for sale. Also, you can see right here, at 750,000, this is well below the historical averages. Let's just say from 2012 all the way until 2016, there was around 1.5 million houses for sale. Now there's only about half that at 750,000. Something else that's worth noting as well is that, again, inventory levels have now fallen for 5 consecutive months. Look at 2006 though. In 2006, inventory was absolutely skyrocketing. Let's talk about, early parts of 2006, just under 1 million houses for sale. Then just 2 years later, it skyrocketed to just under 2.5 million houses for sale. Now, part of the reason why we're seeing this low amount of houses for sale is this right here. New listings decreased by 27% compared to pre-pandemic levels, slightly worse than a 25% deficit in January, as existing home sellers continue to shy away from this market. Additionally, 91 of the top 100 metros in the US saw their inventory or active listing count decrease in February compared to January. Also, have a look at this because this is pretty crazy. I've been reporting this for quite some time, right? A decrease of new listings as people do not want to give up their historically low rates. So here's a really good snapshot here showing that new listings have been decreasing for 14 consecutive months compared to the same time frame in 2017 to 2019. In other words, for this February, new listings decreased by 27% from the average 2017 to 2019 time period. Also, here's something I just noticed as well, because this decrease compared to the same month in 2017 to 2019 has actually been decreasing further for 5 consecutive months now. So in other words, this decrease of new listings compared to pre-COVID levels is getting worse and worse for 5 consecutive months, which is likely causing inventory levels to remain at historically low levels. Let's also talk a little bit more about home prices in the US and some changes that are occurring right now. So it says a modest easing of affordability in January and early February, along with tightening of inventory levels, caused home prices to increase higher. So for example, in February, home prices increased by 0.16% for the month, the strongest single month gain since May of last year. Meanwhile, home prices compared to February of 2022 have now only increased by 1.94%, the first time we've seen annual home price growth below 2% since early 2012. So home prices based on Black Knight's Home Price Index only increasing by 1.94% compared to 12 months ago. That's the first time they've seen their growth rate or their yearly growth rate below 2% going back to early 2012. They also say here that price growth is expected to cross over into negative territory by April, but may return above 0% before the end of the year if inventory challenges persist and interest rates ease. They also touch on different markets within the US in which home prices are increasing the most and also the markets in which prices are decreasing the most. So for example, as I mentioned before, 39 of the 50 largest metros posted an increase in prices this February compared to January. And of course, 3 months prior to that, prices were decreasing in 48 of the 50 largest markets. In regards to the markets in which their prices are increasing the most this February compared to January was Miami, Florida, leading the nation, followed by Cincinnati, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Hartford, Connecticut, Memphis, Tennessee, and Cleveland, Ohio. And as I mentioned before, Black Knight is seeing larger price gains in markets that are more affordable and also in markets in which they have a lack of houses for sale. In contrast, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Austin, Las Vegas, San Jose, California, Salt Lake City, Sacramento, Seattle, San Francisco, Riverside, Los Angeles, and Phoenix saw the largest price decreases this February. Black Knight also noted that most markets in the US are down compared to last year's peak. Again, last year's peak was around April through July last year. So most markets are still below last year's peak. So for example, prices in San Jose, San Francisco, Austin, Seattle, and Phoenix are down more than 10% from last year's peak. Las Vegas, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, San Diego, Los Angeles are between 7.5 and 10% off last year's peaks. In contrast, though, 8 markets, including Louisville, Kentucky, Kansas City, Virginia Beach, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, Hartford, Cincinnati, and Miami are back to peak levels. So check this out. Here are the top 10 markets in which home prices based on their index have increased the most compared to 12 months ago. This is February 2022 compared to February this year. So leading the nation is Miami, Florida, a gain of 11.1%. The only market in which home prices increased by double digits. That was followed by Hartford, Connecticut, Orlando, Kansas City, Missouri, Virginia Beach, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Oklahoma City, Houston, as well as Indianapolis, Indiana. In contrast, here are the top 10 markets in which prices have decreased the most compared to 12 months ago. So San Jose, California led the nation, a decrease of 13%. That was followed by San Francisco, down by 11.9%, Seattle, Washington, down by 10%, Austin, Texas, down by 8.5%, Sacramento, down by 7.8%, and that was followed by Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, and Salt Lake City, Utah. Also, in regards to the markets in which prices have decreased the most compared to 12 months ago, look at this because they say there's now 15 markets in the US in which prices are down year over year. On the opposite end of the spectrum, though, regarding prices increasing the most, Miami again was the only market in which prices increased by double digits. But take a look at this. Less than 1 year ago, all 50 major markets had double-digit annual home price growth rates. So again, this month for February, only one market in which we had double-digit gains, but less than 1 year ago, every single one of the 50 largest markets recorded increases by double digits. And lastly, I want to touch on housing affordability in the US as well, because Black Knight is reporting that housing affordability remains below long-term averages in 49 of the 50 largest metros in the US. In fact, the only exception to this is actually in Cleveland, Ohio. Again, the only exception amongst these 50 largest metros here. In contrast, though, Los Angeles, San Diego, Miami, San Jose, and San Francisco are the least affordable markets. And with the exception of Miami, have experienced some of the sharpest price drops as interest rates have climbed. So for example, based on my own analysis of the California Association of Realtors data for February, in the LA Metro, prices are down by 12% from last year's highs, and also they're down 2% year over year. This is based on the median sold price in the LA metro area. Also in the San Francisco Bay Area, prices are down by 32% compared to last April. And on top of that, they're down 21% year over year and down 9% compared to 2 years ago. As I always say, every real estate market is different and real estate is local. So please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Of course, I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.